ovary, and I'm going to move it around quite a bit to show you everything in this one ovary. What we've got out here is the tunica albugenia, that connective tissue at the edge. And then all of these little tiny white circles right there, they're filling up this whole space right through here. All of those are primordial follicles. There's tons of primordial follicles. Remember, those are the least mature kind of follicle. That's what we're born with. And there's hundreds of thousands of those in the ovary of a baby girl. So you expect to see lots of them. So all of these along here are all primordial follicles. Then this one right here is a good example of a primary follicle. Here's the oocyte. Here are the granulosa cells going around it. No antrum. No antrum. So that's a primary follicle. It is common to see things like this where you don't see an oocyte, like this where you don't see an oocyte. If this is the follicle and my head is the oocyte, if you sliced it right here, you're just not going to see the oocyte. Don't use those. Find one where you see the oocytes, you see all the structures, so you scan around. So from this view, I just see primordial follicles and primary follicle really nicely. Then this particular slide has several different slices through the ovary. Over here, I get two nice secondary follicles. These would be great examples of secondary follicles. Here's the oocyte, granulosa cells, fecal cells. Oocyte, granulosa cells, fecal cells. And again, I know it's a secondary because I see an antrum here. But again, the antrum is only what? Maybe 3 times bigger than the oocyte there? Over here, it's even a better secondary follicle because now it's just maybe 1.5 times bigger than the oocyte. So on a test, I would try to give you a secondary follicle with a pretty small antrum like this one here. Compare that to this Graafian follicle here. Look how large this antrum is relative to the oocyte. So again, here's the oocyte, granulosa cells, fecal cells out here, and this whole thing is a Graafian follicle. What am I seeing over here again?
Primordial follicles.
Primordial follicles. Primordial follicles. What's this thing?
Graafian follicle.
Graafian follicle. What is this?
Oocyte.
Oocyte. What's this?
Antrum.
What cells am I seeing here?
Fecal.
Fecal cells. How about here?
Granulosa cells.
Granulosa cells. Yeah? Do a couple more of these. Move it around. What am I seeing here?
Primary follicle.
Primary follicle. What am I seeing here? Primordial follicles. What am I seeing here?
Graafian.
Graafian follicle. What am I seeing here? Primary follicle. Starting to see the difference? Let's see if we can find one more good secondary follicle, just so you've seen another one.
There you go.
There's 2 of them right there, actually, because there's a little antrum right there. Right? So this is a secondary follicle. It's just beginning to be a secondary follicle. So I already have a little bit of antrum. This is also a secondary follicle, just further along in its development. Yes? Okay. All right. This is a corpus luteum, if you're curious. That's what it looks like when all those cells collapse in. This big thing right here. Yeah. All right. So that is the ovary slide. So the main thing with the ovary is being able to recognize the differences between those follicles. Yeah? So pretty straightforward. We covered that quite a bit today in the lecture, I think. Uterus. It's 30, 31, and 32 in your lab manual.